Well, good morning, America. It's Tony Alvarez, the conservative Cuban. I've gotten a lot of emails and little things asking me what I think about the new change that the president, our illustrious president there, wants to get through regarding Cuban-American or American-Cuban, it really should be said, relations. So let me just address a couple of things real quick, okay? First of all, is it good for the U.S., for the citizens, and for business? Okay, well, for business, it's fabulous because obviously, anytime a new market opens, it doesn't matter whether it's in Cuba or whether it's in Uganda. Anything that opens up is going to help us out. Is it good for the American citizens? Well, another place you get to go and spend your money, right? You get to go someplace else and and enjoy yourself. And I don't know why you'd want to go there, but it's a beautiful place and all that stuff. Now, for most of you, let me just clear up. I was born in Cuba. I'm from Cuba, so this is why I get I came when I was 5 years old during the Cuban Revolution. At the time where they took all our stuff and told us we couldn't breathe or speak to each other unless we had permission from Castro. Those two things aside, is it good for Cuba, for the Cuban government? Well, how can it be bad for them? They got everything they wanted, basically, and our president is bowing to Raul Castro, who's been pretty much a nobody. He hasn't done anything with his whole life except just get fed by his brother Castro, who we don't even know if he's alive anymore. So at the moment where Cuba is the weakest politically, the weakest financially, the weakest where they need the United States like we need oxygen as human beings, our president decides, hey, let's just do whatever they want us to do. So is it good for the Cuban people? Absolutely. Right now, what are they living off of? Leaves and twigs. There's not a bird left on the island, I hear, because they've eaten them all. So the Cuban people, and when this, as time goes by and things open up, you'll get to hear really what the Cuban people are thinking. For the most part, they're not, they're rah behind this government because they don't have any choice. They'll kill you and bury you in some place where nobody will ever see you again, as they've done for thousands of people. They've literally murdered thousands and thousands of people. And it's no great secret. I mean, people know this, So. Is it good for the Cuban people? Absolutely. Cuban government? Absolutely. It's a win-win for them. And was it the best way of accomplishing this? Absolutely not. Our president, as usual, has been totally disrespectful to the American public that put him in office. Totally disregards everything and our process of getting things accomplished, including everyone. You notice that all the decisions that come out of the White House are like a cleavage. There's them and us, There's always a way that they do things to create some kind of conflict in the American public. This didn't have to be done this way, by the way, because the Cuban government is desperate for this relationship to happen. Desperate. Because without it, they will sink as they are sinking. They will continue to sink like the Titanic, and they were sinking quick and fast. So they need this bailout, which is what it is. It's another bailout, So I don't understand why we went this way, unless, of course, the White House needs a distraction from real serious problems that we have. Let's take on, this thing with Cuba because it'll be a big thing because it's been so many years. So there's political agendas behind it, without doubt. But why aren't we dealing with the real issues? Now, let's not go there. Let's just create something and notice the questions that the media is asking. When they put they put a microphone in front of anyone, they're asking the magic question. So do you agree that, with the improving of Cuban-American relationships, do you agree with this, change to improve Cuban-American relationships? Who the hell is going to say no? Unless you're just a, negative person. No, we don't want the Cuban relationship. It's the way it was done, don't you understand? We negotiated nothing. We got nothing out of it. We got a guy who lost 3 teeth. They sent him back, and then so we got a toothless guy coming back to us. Notice that the guys that they got back were in very good condition. I don't know if we waterboarded them, but we should have. But that's another issue, I suppose. So bottom line is, We should improve relationships with Cuba. Absolutely. We should improve relationships with every country in the world. Because by doing that, as Reagan said many times, by keeping our doors open, we will help them to make changes for themselves. But the responsibility of changing Cuba internally falls on the Cuban people. If they're not willing to die for their own freedom, they don't deserve it, because that's what it takes. You know, that's what it really takes. It takes you to want to, you know, you have to die for what you want. If you're not willing to do that, then you get what somebody else wants to give you. And that's been the crux always, hasn't it? Many Cubans have died, by the way, trying to get things changed and trying to help. The planes that just got shot down, all of that stuff that happened, you know. And of course, was this decision done in a way that respects all of that, including Cuban spies, American spies, by the way, that have died over the last 50 years while trying to make changes and make things happen for that island? None of that was respected with this decision, you know. And by the way, did you know that Che Guevara, you know, the guy who really made that revolution happen for Castro, because he was the brains behind the military of the revolution. Castro, of course, let him die in Bolivia in the hills when he got busted there, instead of going in to help him, which he could have done. But it didn't fit his agenda. And you notice, so Che Guevara, who originally was from Argentina, by the way, solidified the revolution for Castro. And our illustrious Pope, and I'm Catholic, has now been an instrumental part of continuing communism in Cuba by creating this deal without negotiating anything at all. No release of prisoners internally, no change in their government or change in anything that they're doing. They're going to get all of our money, no doubt, to continue living the life, because Raul Castro lives very well, I'm sure. But it wasn't handled. But our president doesn't know how to negotiate his way out of a paper bag. You know, so what's the use of arguing that point? So overall, I fall on the fact that I think it's always good to improve our relationships with everyone, Cuba included. But for goodness sake, let's get somebody in there to negotiate. I mean, we could use Netanyahu here, you know. Just get somebody in there that knows how to negotiate a deal, because, you know, I'm surprised he didn't give up a room in every one of our houses to house somebody from Cuba, you know, temporarily until they, you know, get the things worked out. All right, I gotta go. I'm talking too much. See you later. Bye. Adios, amigos.